Hi YouTube, I'm Aiman, and welcome back to one of my auto repair videos. And I know we haven't done these for a long time, and maybe that's a good thing since our car hasn't broken down that much. We've only had to do one replacement, and that was on my mom's starter. But anyway, this is a problem that we've had since last year, around August 2017. So we've had it for a year about now, so we think it's time to replace it. And what we're going to replace today is the CV axle, which stands for constant velocity. So as you can see here, we have this brand new aftermarket part, and what we're going to be replacing is right here is this constant velocity axle that goes all the way to the transmission. And the reason that we're replacing it is because over the past year, my dad has been noticing this strange noise, like a when he turns left or he reverses left. And I don't really notice it because I'm sitting in the back seat, but since he's in the front seat, he notices it. The noise could come from anywhere, so really the hardest part of fixing a car is diagnosing the problem. For example, it could come from broken power steering pinion, or it could come from the suspension, or it could come from like a ball joint when you hit a pothole. However, in the case of a ball joint hitting when you hit a pothole, that has a very distinct happening only when you hit a pothole. As for the CV axle, it only happens when you go from stop to go or stop to reverse. So usually the problem would be with the boots right here, but we already inspected it inside here and we found no issues. So we're just gonna replace the entire axle because that's what we think it is. And it's not really a big deal. This aftermarket part was only around $60 compared to the brand new $200 parts. Also, it shouldn't take me and my dad more than an hour to fix it. He's actually done this once before for his old Corolla, so it shouldn't be too hard. And one more thing, I'm focusing on the diagnosing of this problem because actually fixing the car isn't the hard part. Even I can do it, but diagnosing the problem is the first step and the hardest step. So, looking from under the car, and as you can see all around me, my dad put all these jack stands because he knew I was gonna be crawling under the car for this. So, this is the CV axle right here. It runs all the way through back to the transmission. It ends here. And the first step in actually fixing the car is we're gonna be removing these 3 screws right here. Alright, so we're gonna take a step back here, and I'm not sure if you have to do it in exact order. But first we're going to take this nut out. So what you want to do is, you see this hole here, we're going to take a screwdriver, make sure it's a strong one, and we're going to insert it, and we're going to try to pry this part out so it goes up. So you see that dent, we want to try to pry that dent up. So you can either use a screwdriver or a chisel with it, and with the chisel you can just hammer it down. Make sure if you're using a screwdriver to use a strong one, because we used a cheap one and it broke off. So you insert it like this and then it just broke off. So let's see if we can demonstrate this. I can already feel the screwdrivers breaking on me. Make sure you use a heavy duty screwdriver. Maybe I need to hammer it in. Oh, I guess not. Alright, heavy duty screwdriver. Alright, so we're going to be using a 32 socket for this, and there are 3 ways to do this. First, and the best way would probably be using an impact driver. However, if you don't have an impact wrench, but you do have someone who can help you, that person can go inside and hit the brake while you unscrew it. The third way is that if you're alone, this is the creative way, is that you can take the center cap off the tire, screw it back on, and then while it's on, you can lower the car, and then you can unscrew it. So basically, the goal is to make sure is to unscrew it so that the tire doesn't turn while you do it, because I'll demonstrate it here. It turns when you try to do it like that. Alright, so with an impact driver, even if you still have the dent, it shouldn't matter because the impact driver just has so much power that it's probably going to be able to overcome that. So let's try it. Here we go. Coming back to these 3 screws here, we don't really have to use an impact wrench to do this. They don't require much power to unscrew, so you could just unscrew it manually. However, since we're here and we have time, we're going to advertise one of my dad's favorite power tools. You know, just to show you just how useful it is. So first you have to loosen these here so that we can actually demonstrate. This right here is a Milwaukee M12 3/8-inch cordless ratchet, and it's really useful because we can use it here to unscrew these screws. And it comes out easy like that. Let's get to the real hidden ability of this power tool. So you can see right here that when I try to turn this screw, it makes a noise. So what my dad really likes about this Milwaukee M12 is that you can also turn it by hand. And when you hear this noise, it means that either there isn't enough torque or the battery is too low. In this case, there's not enough torque. So this is why turning it by hand is better, because it allows you to loosen it up and then continue with the tool. It also ratchets when you try to do it. I forgot about that. So it makes the job a lot more easier. And a lot less time consuming. Alright, it looks like this one's loose already. Because I like this Milwaukee M12 here, it's so cool. I'm going to be doing its own video on it, so stay tuned for that. Next step is going to be prying these screws out. So, I'm not going to actually be able to demonstrate it because my dad already did it because he didn't want me to get pinched. But this is the main concept behind it. So basically just take a pry bar like this, wedge it under there, and use your leverage to just get these two screws out. So this is what we want to get to right here. This is the goal, so it's kind of wiggly. It's also loose, as you can see. There are many ways to take the shaft out of its knuckle area. So this is just one of them. So you can take a long rod like this and a hammer, and then you can just knock it. Now you can see the shaft is going inside. Alright, to take the shaft out now is very easy. All you have to do is turn the whole assembly right and then bend this to the left. So, and then after that you want to rest it on top of here, and then we're good to go. Before we move forward, I just want to talk about why we're putting it on top of here. So the reason why is so that we want to keep the shaft as straight as possible so that we don't damage the seal on the back near the transmission. And it looks like this spot right here is the perfect place to put it so it doesn't get damaged. Alright, next is to take the shaft out. So as you can see, there's this little recess right here, this in between the shaft and the transmission. And we're going to take the pry bar and we're going to insert it in between, and then we're going to just pry the whole shaft out. So it's going to be a bit hard. It might take you a while and it might not take you a while, but as you can see, for me it's really hard. Yeah, can't do it. For some reason I got a cramp in my right leg from this though. Alright, so one thing I just want to mention is that when you do this, you'll notice that there's going to be a little oil leaking. That's the transmission oil. So you can put a tray down here, but we just have a rag or shirt here to collect it. And I guess now we can move on. Also, if anyone knows why I had a cramp in my right foot, maybe one of you mechanics who's worked for a long time maybe knows. Maybe the nerve in your right arm is connected to the nerve in your right leg, but I don't know. I'm curious, you know. Alright, so now that we've ejected it, we're going to try to remove it carefully. Wow, that's pretty cool. Where's the other part? I want to compare it. So we compared the two, and they both look around the same. This one has a bit of boot difference, I noticed that. But otherwise, it still should be the same. So we're going to start replacing it now. Alright, so you can see here the hole clearly from here. And when you put it in, you want to have a few precautions in mind. Make sure you don't hit anything on the way in. You don't want to damage the teeth. And also make sure that when you put it in, it locks in place. So as you can see here, we finally put it in. When you're trying to put it in, if it doesn't go in instantly, you should give it a little nudge, and after that you should hear a little click to indicate that it's locked into place. And as you can see, there's not a gap, so that means we put it in perfectly. And I guess now all we have to do is reverse the process that we did before, and then just reverse the process that we did before and put it back on. So we should be done. Alright, first we're gonna take out the screw. I mean this nut. And then I guess we're just gonna bend this to the left again. Not sure how much it can bend though. Turn this to the right. I don't want to break this, so I'm not sure how much I can actually turn it. But, okay. So, I hope I put it in right, so there's no... Oh, okay. So after what I did before, we need to put the nut on, but before we can do that, we have to put these 3 screws back in. And in order to do that, we're going to take this a creative use of the pry bar and try to lever it back on. However, I'm not going to do it because my dad doesn't think I should do it, and I think so too. I think I need to build a bit more muscle because I think this is a bit too heavy for me. So I'll just leave it to my dad for now. Alright, so we finally got the screws in place and the joint secured. So what we figured out while we did this is that in order to make it more easier, what we have to do is you push the axle out a bit, and then we screw the nut on a tiny bit, and then you're gonna be able to finagle the joint a bit just to get it inside, and then you should be able to screw it in. So we shouldn't have to show that, so we're gonna come back when it's done. Alright, so now that we've secured the joint and the shaft, now we can take a chisel, put it here, and then hammer it to sort of secure this nut in place. Maybe just a bit more. I don't know how much you need to do it. Maybe that looks good. So after that, we're going to put the wheel back on, and then we're going to test drive it to make sure everything's alright. And then we should be done. So I'm Aiman, and thanks for watching. If you like, comment, subscribe, look at other videos on EYeOnAiman. Especially the car repair videos. And I'm going to put this tire back on. So, signing out. Peace.